This morning, as we approach the celebration of Christmas, we are invited into an ongoing story, woven through and through with the golden thread of God's love, a love that is steadfast, transformative, unrelenting, and utterly surprising. It's a love that whispers through the prophet Micah, resounds in Mary's Magnificat, and takes on flesh in the person of Jesus Christ, and continues through the power of the Spirit in us. Micah speaks of Bethlehem, a small, insignificant village where God's ruler would arise. This ruler was not the kind of king the world expected, though. He's a shepherd king whose reign is marked not by domination, but by care, tenderness, and peace. It is love, God's enduring covenantal love, that calls forth this ruler to gather, guide, and protect his people. This is the heart of God's kingdom, a love that casts out fear, lifts up the lowly, and restores the broken. We see this so vividly in Mary. When we turn to Luke's gospel, we find her carrying the Messiah in her womb, not as a queen in a palace, but as a humble young woman, overshadowed by God's Spirit and filled with God's words. Her response to God's astonishing plan is not self-centered ambition, but a song of love and trust. The Magnificat in Luke is a declaration of how love works in God's economy. It scatters the proud, it exalts the humble, fills the hungry, and remembers the forgotten. This is not an abstract love. It is active, justice-bringing, world-transforming, hope-filled love. But how does God accomplish this? Hebrews 10 gives us the answer. Jesus enters the world not merely to make more sacrifices, but to, in love, offer the final sacrifice, himself. His redemptive mission is not about appeasement, but reconciliation and lasting peace, bringing humanity and creation into harmony once again with God. The love of God is not a distant ideal. It is not far off. It brings humanity, creation, and the Creator back into right relationship. It's enfleshed in Jesus, who comes to do God's will. His sacrifice is the ultimate act of love, offered to heal, restore, and make all things new for all who would believe. And then there's this meeting between Mary and Elizabeth in Luke 1. It's a scene overflowing with love and joy. Elizabeth's child leaps in her womb at the sound of Mary's voice, a beautiful testament to the way God's love stirs the hearts of all who encounter it. Mary and Elizabeth's embrace is more than a family greeting. It's a celebration of God's loving purposes unfolding before their eyes and in their wombs. This joy is born out of love for God, love for one another, and a heartfelt hope in the promises that are now being fulfilled. So what does that mean for us today? It means that God's love, which called forth a ruler from Bethlehem, Jesus himself, still works through small, humble, and unexpected ways and people. It means that God's love, which filled Mary's heart with joy and Elizabeth's home with laughter, is still filling the world with signs of hope and renewal. And it means that the God whose love sent his Son to dwell among us calls us to embody that same love in our own lives. Advent is a season of waiting. Yes, but not passive waiting. It is active, hope-filled, love-filled anticipation. Like Mary, we are called to say, "Let it be to me according to your word," trusting in God's love to carry us forward. Like Elizabeth, we are called to rejoice in God's unfolding plan, letting love shape our response. And like the shepherd king, foretold by Micah, we are called to bring peace in a world that desperately needs the love and presence of Christ. This Advent, may we embrace the joy of God's love, the humility of Bethlehem's king, and the hope of God's promises being fulfilled. And may we go forth to live this hope, this joy, this peace, this love, bringing light and peace in a weary world.